I know as a cook I should like eating fat, but I really don't, which is why this recipe is so great, because yes, the fat is on there, but because we're going to press the meat, the fat is tolerable for me. In fact, it's absolutely delicious. You want a roasting tin that will snugly fit your piece of pork belly. Now, in an ideal world, I would have pork belly where the skin has not been scored, but this was on special in the supermarket, so I'm not going to turn it away. In here, I'm going to pour, you want a litre of dry cider. I've got 500 ml of chicken stock. So in here, I'm going to put in 2 bay leaves, some thyme, a roughly chopped carrot. I didn't bother peeling it, and the end is going in as well. I've got a roughly chopped onion, that's going in. I've got 2 cloves of garlic, just smashed but kept whole, smashed with the back of a knife. I put in a few peppercorns and a star anise. I'm going to pop this on the hob and bring it to a simmer. If you haven't seasoned your meat well in advance of cooking, season it just before you start cooking it. I'm going to slide this into its blanket of cider, making sure, oh, perfect, it's completely submerged. I'll bring that back up to a simmer. You can either cover it lightly with foil, or my tin has got a lid, and it goes in an oven preheated to 160 degrees. That was a 700-gram piece of pork belly, and that will now cook undisturbed for 3 hours. I'm going to just leave that to cool a little bit. Line a tray with some baking paper, and then very carefully take out the piece of pork. Lie another piece of baking paper on the top, and then another tin. And I'm now going to leave this to cool, and when it's cool, I will put it in the fridge overnight. It's the big reveal. This has been pressed for probably at least 15 hours. And there you can see it's lovely and flat. I'm just going to trim it up so it's ready for the final cook. You don't want any curved edges of skin, because they won't brown in the pan. You won't get crackling. So I'm now going to trim this up, ready to be eaten. So 1, 2. This would probably serve 4 people. It's very rich meat. I'm going to be doing 2 dishes with this, so I'm sectioning mine up to have tonight with mash and cabbage, which will be neat squares. Well, I'm going to keep it whole for now. So I've got the squares for dinner tonight, and I'm going to wrap that up for another dish another day. This is the cider and stock poaching stuff that I'm just going to tip into a saucepan. And I am going to reduce this right down, but I am going to check for salt, for saltiness every so often. It can take, up to 45 minutes, maybe longer. Time to cook the pork. I've heated a frying pan. I'm putting just a little bit of vegetable oil in. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. I'm just going to let that warm up. I just want you to see how much that cider reduced. Nothing's added to it. That is just that reduced cider, and that's going to be the sauce. I'm serving mine with, well, I wanted creamed cabbage, but I haven't got cabbage, so I have finely shredded some little ones, Brussels sprouts. I've got my 2 pieces of pork belly, and I'm going to put them in skin side down, and they're going to stay on the skin side for about 4 minutes. Flip them over. You can see that's lovely and crisp on top, and cook them for 3 or 4 minutes until they're completely heated through. You could put some apple in mashed potato and have apple mash. This is just plain mashed potato. Little bit of cabbage on the side. Piece of pork belly can just sit on the top. Do it again. Cider braised pork belly. Serve it with the sauce on the side. I am making a quantity that will be enough for 2 to 3 people. There is a recipe on my website for probably up to 6 people, which includes how to roast a piece of pork belly. I'm doing this recipe because I have some of my pressed cider braised pressed pork belly, which I'm going to brown off by putting it in a very hot oven. I've got a pan on. I'm going to put in a splash, it's probably a tablespoon of olive oil, and I've got 100 grams of cooking chorizo, which I've cut up into quite small chunks, and I have removed the sausage casing, and I'm just going to let that cook on a low light until it releases all of its lovely oils. This has released a lot of oil. So going in, I've got 1 onion finely diced. I do like a fine dice because that's how I like to eat it. If you want a chunky dice, do a chunky dice. So that was 1 onion finely diced. This is 1 leek finely diced. 2 sticks of celery finely diced. And 2 carrots finely diced. There's a lot of fine dicing going on. Lastly, I just wanted to show you this. I've got it's a fennel. So I've taken the outer leaves off and the top bits. Everything is saved in my bag of stuff that goes for stock. But I have also, you can see I've cut a triangle. I have taken out the woody bit. So I'm going to finely dice this and add that in as well. And we're going to cook that, sweat it until it's nice and soft. Coat it in all the oil. So that's the fennel, finely diced, also going in. That was 4 garlic cloves. Yes, I've gone big on garlic tonight. Finely chopped, that's going in. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of thyme leaves. I'm putting in about a whole teaspoon. Paprika. Sweet, smoky, I don't mind. Do what you want. Do what you have. Let that cook down for about 10 minutes. Stirring occasionally. Oh, I'm going to salt it. Salt it. Pepper. Now the recipe on my website uses ancho chilies, which are mild, smoky chilies. I don't have ancho, so I'm actually using chipotle, which I am mindful that they are quite spicy. I have soaked them for 20 minutes in hot water, and I'm now just going to finely chop them. But I'm hardcore, like I am with my Marmite. So that was 3 ancho chilies going in. And I've also got, which I don't expect you to have, I bought these back. Well, no, I didn't bring these back. These were given to me by my friends from New Mexico. They're Hatch green chilies. There's nothing quite like it. You will only ever have these in New Mexico, but you could just put in some green chili, a chopped green chili, or whatever you've got. That's what cooking's all about. Okay, you can see how much this has reduced in size. So now I'm going to put in about 100 ml of cider, and I'm going to let that bubble. You want the alcohol to bubble off. I'm now going to add a splash of chicken stock, just a splash. I'm now going to add a whole jar of boiled bean butter beans. You can use their white beans. I actually had to go out and buy these. I bought them. Boiled Bean Company. They're going in with their stock because that is what's so precious, is that beautiful stock. I'm going to let it warm through and then taste it for salt. Then lastly, can you see I've kind of cut the cheek bit off a cabbage. Savoy cabbage would have been lovely, but I couldn't get it. So I'm going to just put this white cabbage in. It's about 70 grams. I said this was enough for 2 to 3. I think this is enough for 4 people. I'm just going to leave that to warm through. I had 200 ml of chicken stock. I am actually going to, which I put a splash in. I'm now going to put the rest of the chicken stock in. And I'm going to let that bubble. I am going to just taste it at this stage. Gosh, those 3 chipotles. See what I mean? This needs to cook down for at least 10 minutes. It does need salt. I've tasted it. And plenty of pepper. I don't know why I thought this would be for 2 to 3. Actually, do you know what? When this cooks down and without carbs, you'll be surprised how much you can eat. So this is going in a bowl. That's my pork belly. I did overcook it, but I have to say, so just nestle a few pieces of the pork belly on the top. I've got some of the fennel fronds, just going to finish, and a couple of pieces of bread. I am going to finish it with a tiny bit of sherry vinegar. It's just what it needs. Spanish beans with chorizo and pork belly. This will be in the montage.